Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley are American multinational financial services firms. Goldman Sachs was founded in 1869 and employs over 34,000 employees worldwide. Founded in 1935, Morgan Stanley employs over 55,000 employees around the world. The firms focus primarily on global investment banking, securities, investment management, and an array of institutional financial and wealth management services. Although firms like these have their headquarters clustered within few blocks of Manhattan, New York, their services can have widespread impacts on common people, resource-laden investors, hedge funds, and governments around the world. As financial influencers of the world's biggest economy, these institutions have a critical role in shaping the world finance. In this video, we are evaluating the CSR of these financial giants. Corporate social responsibility is the idea that businesses interact with the organization's stakeholders for social good while they pursue economic goals. The idea of CSR is often controversial and its benefits are uncertain. However, 72% of CEOs worldwide recognize its need. Because both firms are multinational companies in every sense, they are obligated to address the social concerns of many countries. Therefore, in order to be socially responsible, they are involved in CSR in different corners of the world.
Morgan Stanley partnered with Feeding America to tackle hunger in the United States. They supported the initiative in 3 ways: directly donating fooding materials that could be used for Feeding America's backpack program to donate to hungry children, providing intellectual capital to help food banks unite and be more efficient in pledging their donations to hungry people. Furthermore, they collected and sorted local food banks to help families in need. This program supplied to more than 37 million hungry Americans, including 14 million children. It also bolstered organizations like Feeding America to efficiently manage its resources. Similarly, Morgan Stanley, as part of the firm's Global Alliance for Children's Health, partnered with Great Ormond Street Hospital in order to help renovate the outdated and cramped buildings of the hospital. The firm and its employees raised £11 million and provided intellectual capital. They helped return the hospital to its normal operations within a short time by establishing the Morgan Stanley Clinical Building. As the hospital was oriented in providing critical health services to children suffering from rare diseases, the hospital's renovation increased its capacity, providing potential admission to more children and better medical facilities for its patients. Since 2008, Morgan Stanley has provided $25,000 each year and an assessment model for the future growth of green chimneys, an animal-based therapy program for adolescents with special challenges. They help Green Chimneys to expand in order to facilitate more children. More than 200 employees volunteer there each year. Overall, they help transform challenged students into confident, well-adjusted adults. Morgan Stanley Tokyo collaborated with Ashinaga to provide helping hands to thousands of orphans in Japan. The firm's employees helped the children connect with the global community. They provided English language workshops to sharpen their communication skills. Following the East Japan tsunami and earthquake in 2011, Morgan Stanley made generous donations and helped them collect money in Times Square. They supported and helped Ashinaga grow, and now Ashinaga is providing support to AIDS victims in Africa. In conclusion to Morgan Stanley's CSR, they have contributed to social development in various ways. However, they have focused their resources on meeting the needs of challenged children, as evidenced by their major projects like Ashinaga, the Green Chimneys, Feeding America, and the Great Ormond Street Hospital. In fact, they spent more than half of their resources helping children in need.
10,000 Women is a 5-year-long, $100 million worldwide educational project intended to provide 10,000 small-scale female entrepreneurs and access to business education, networks, and links to capital. They provided education in courses like business plan finance, accounting operations management, human resource management, etc., and access to capital to women whose practical and financial circumstances would otherwise prevent from receiving a formal business education. 30 months after completing the program, 82% of surveyed 10,000 women graduates increased their revenue and 71% added new jobs. On average, graduates doubled the size of their workforces and revenues increased nearly 5-fold. Goldman Sachs Gives is a donor-advised fund through which current and retired Goldman Sachs employees can recommend grants to charities around the world. Since 2010, Goldman Sachs has recommended $750 million as part of the project to over 3,500 charities in 38 countries. Goldman Sachs supported charities that are involved in a series of humanitarian activities like supporting veterans, developing children through sports, providing disaster relief materials, and provide opportunities for economic growth.
As numbers have a big role in financial firms, we consider numbers to be a fitting tribute to CSR, Goldman Sachs, and Morgan Stanley. Since 2008, Goldman Sachs has committed in excess of $1.6 billion to philanthropic initiatives. That's $228 million on average per annum. According to the latest sustainability report by Morgan Stanley, the firm had donated $91 million in cash in a year. Over 25,000 of Goldman Sachs employees and family contributed over 125,000 hours of volunteering through community teamwork in 2014 alone. On the other hand, more than 24,000 Morgan Stanley employees volunteered over 440,000 hours. So looking at the CSR numbers of these firms, Goldman Sachs provides significantly more cash donations to CSR projects than Morgan Stanley. However, according to latest sustainability reports of both firms, Morgan Stanley's volunteers contributed an average of 18.3 hours per volunteer, whereas Goldman Sachs volunteers contributed 5 hours per volunteer. The Civic 50, a list of 50 most community-oriented S&P companies prepared by Bloomberg LP, ranked Morgan Stanley above Goldman Sachs in both 2012 and 2013. In fact, Morgan Stanley was the highest-ranked financial company and the best company among the large-size firms. After the 2008 financial crisis, the investment banks like these two have come under scrutiny of their stakeholders. Their reputations have been tarnished and the relationships with the stakeholders are not at best on. So CSR can be one of the most important ways to amend this situation and maintain good relationship with the stakeholders.
Created using Powtoon.